Good morning, grade 11s. Today's lesson is on summary writing. Remember, summaries are generally a very difficult skill to grasp, also most specifically because of a couple of things. Number one, sometimes it's quite difficult to condense thoughts or to condense ideas into making them into one small piece that is understandable and concise. And being concise in summary writing is one of the most important things that you need to be very, very aware of, that you need to be very, very conscious of when you do summary writing. I think another thing that's very important about summary writing is that your summaries are usually the focus points of how well you can critically think, and most importantly, how well you're able to pick out some of the most important stuff so that we're all aware of your picking up skills, your analysis skills, but also most importantly, your skills to bring things together in order to condense them. Another thing that's very important is that with summaries, you are tested on something that we call word economy. We're going to talk about word economy later on. And I think one of the most important things about word economy as well is I think it talks to how well you can take a piece that had 1,000 words and summarize it into about 80 to 90 words. So here goes. Summarizing skills are required in all aspects of life. It enhances learners' studying skills. Can you see? Because if, let's say, you're doing a content subject like life sciences or business studies, how well have you been able to summarize some of your chapters or some of the units that you've learned in those particular subjects, right? Let's say in business studies, you're doing the marketing function or you're doing forms of ownership. How well have you been able to summarize a 3-page unit, perhaps, or a 3-page chapter to half a page, so that you know what you're talking about when you've written all that stuff down. Also, skills should be skill. So today's lesson is going to be an introduction to revisiting of summaries. Then we're going to be talking about some tips on how to respond to summaries. And then we're going to have a sample summary, okay? Then we'll have a suggested summary in terms of how your summary should be written. Just have a look at that, please. Just have a look at that, please. Right. Let's look at that. Introduction. Summaries can be written in two types. The first one is the point form summary. The second one is a paragraph form summary. But because you guys are home language learners or home language speakers or home language writers, the focus for you guys in most cases, if not all cases, is paragraph form summaries. Okay, but how do they differ mainly? In point form summary, bullets and numbers should be used, whereas the paragraph summary depends on the cohesion and structure of the paragraph. What do you think summary skills are used for? I'll give you a minute to think on that. like I did say earlier on studying, some of the reasons we use summaries or summary skills, like I said, to condense. But also remember, when you're doing presentations, whether you're busy with a business presentation or you're busy with a presentation for your class, right? Even as teachers, we do summarize sometimes. We summarize our lessons. We've got some, some notes and some footnotes that we need to refer to, because some chapters that we teach, are as thick as about 15 to 18 pages. And sometimes we need to condense all those pages to about 2 pages of points and some of the most important things that we may need to refer to. Let's go. Summaries. To ensure that you are well prepared, read extensively. That's also very important. So at summary writing, there are certain steps to be followed to ensure success. Number 1, read the passage at least twice. Read the passage at least twice. Number 2, read the instructions or the brief. Read the instructions of the brief. Sometimes the instructions are very clear in most cases. Okay. I know that some of you think that, well, yeah, I want to show off that I can write and I can write so much and I can write well. In fact, the contrary is what's needed in summary writing. Please make sure that you know that. Make sure that that's drilled into your head. We don't care about your writing skills and how well you can describe things and how well you can replace certain words with other words. That's not what we care about. All we want to know is whether you've got the skill to condense a particular passage to a few words. You may be asked to summarize an aspect of the passage, such as the advantages, the steps taken, and all that. And step 3, reread the passage while underlining the key words. Reread the passage while underlining the key words that make up the relevant facts. And you can number them as you go so that you know. I mean, if we said pick up 7 facts, it's usually 7 facts that we ask for, 7, big ideas. And sometimes you'll find 9. But maybe of the 9, 2 are repeated, who knows? Step 4, write the draft by rewriting the underlying facts in full sentences using your own words or sentence construction as far as possible. Write the draft by rewriting the underlying facts in full sentences using your own words or sentence construction as far as possible. This means to do what? To take these loose sentences and construct a cohesive paragraph. So take all your loose sentences, all the loose sentences that you see, to construct a cohesive paragraph using conjunctions and or punctuation marks while combining sentences where required. Okay. So you need to construct a cohesive paragraph using those conjunctions and some, and some punctuation marks or punctuation marks while combining the sentences where required. Step 5, you need to edit your draft. Edit your draft. So that is, you'll notice summary writing is section B of your paper 1, grade 11s. Okay, it's section B of your paper 1. And the reason I'm mentioning this is that I think you've got about 30 minutes to do the summary on its own, because the paper, I think the paper is a 2.5-hour paper. I may be incorrect. Please just do correct me. I think the paper is a 2.5-hour paper usually, And of the 2.5 hours, you've got about an hour on the comprehension. Then you've got about 30 minutes. Yes, you've got 30 minutes on the summary. I'm correct, yeah. And then the rest of the hour is on section C, which is the language, structures, and conventions. So then you've got your cartoon and your advert, and you have your textual editing. So you've got about 30 minutes to spend on this. So you've got time to read the draft. You've got time to try to. You've got time to edit to edit your draft. To rewrite. But I think because your papers are given 10 minutes ahead of the exam, one of the things that I can tip you on is to ensure that in that reading time, many of you would jump to the comprehension. Okay, that's fine. I'm not a big fan of starting there. This is where I would definitely start. I think it's very exciting because you've got a guaranteed 10 marks. You've got a guaranteed 10 marks. If you know and if you can point out the points very, very well, because what would then happen is it's going to be, not only is it going to be quicker to answer, but I think it's going to be very effective for you because then you'll have like 10 whole minutes to read a passage, 10 whole minutes to reread that passage, 10 whole minutes to sort of point out what is important and what's not important. And I think once they go, you may begin, and then you can start with section B, and then there you go. You're down on it, and you write your summary, and you maybe finish in 15 minutes instead of because technically the other 15 minutes or maybe 10 minutes was taken by the fact that you actually read the essay anyway. Because with comprehensions, usually you'd have to reread, and sometimes you're not sure about a particular answer, but here you kind of know, which will then give you, I think, a lot more time to do the comprehension. I'm a fan of section C, by the way. So I would definitely jump into section C. I know very well that I get like 95% in section C, perhaps one or two answers that may be thin, definitely not wrong, but thin. And then I'll end off with a comprehension. Not that I hate reading, no, but it's because comprehensions usually need you at your most desperate, for time, because usually people tend to get carried away. Also these examiners, when they put the the comprehension in section A, they know that you guys will get carried away and you won't finish your exam. But anyway, because this is on summaries, that is the whole point of that was to tell you why summaries and why summaries at that particular point. One single paragraph that clearly answers the question. That's what you need to check on. Okay, because you guys are home language speakers or home language writers, that's what you need to check on. Number two, each sentence must contain a finite verb, right? So if a sentence does not make sense on its own, it is not a full sentence. Don't forget that. You must follow language rules, because 30% of your marks in the summary comes from the fact that you've used language correctly, okay? Because remember, the 7 marks, which is the 70%, comes from the actual summary, the fact that you were able to point out the most important points that we're looking for, okay? The third, I think, the most important thing is that all the facts are relevant to the topic, right? Then next, you have not quoted 3 or more consecutive words lifted from the passage as seen as a quote. Okay, so make sure, again, check the following. Check that you have not quoted, because 3 or more consecutive words lifted from the passage are seen as a quote. So don't just lift from the passage and, don't do that. Also, it's not even about replacing a word with another word. It's not about that. I remember I used to do that in school, and I was told that no, read, understand, see what the passage talks about, and then write a summary, to yourself while not looking at the passage. That's kind of what your summary should look like, because then what you're doing is you're not that you've cramped the summary, but you're writing a summary or a condensed view of what you've sort of seen already. Now, count the number of words and attempt to reduce this by checking the redundancy, examples, lists, direct speech, repetition, illustrations, and all that. So remember, redundancy, verbosity, tautology, all that, it's like just the overuse of words, Remember to remove that. Remove all of that. Remove examples. I think where an example is needed, it could be one. I don't think it's relevant to bring in an example in summary writing. Lists as well. I mean, if they say, yeah, with pears, apples, peaches, pineapples, and avocados. All of that, you see, all those 5 words could be condensed to the word fruit. That's what we're talking about. Direct speech, avoid direct speech. If someone just says, well, usually it's because I hate going to the beach because it's usually windy and some of the sand usually gets into my eyes. Okay. She can just say that she does not prefer beaches, full stop. So all of that I said before could be condensed into that. Again, repetition, illustrations, you remove all of that because we want to see if you get the point of the passage. Edit your language usage by checking punctuation, which is capital letters and full stops, spelling, sentence structure, use simple sentences as far as possible. This is the one time where we encourage that. I know that in paper 3, we discourage that. I'm going to be doing a descriptive essay writing lesson with the grade 10s later on today. So yeah, use simple sentences as far as possible. Avoid long, complex sentences because we're not even interested. I told you on your writing skill. We're interested on your condensing skills. Check your concord, the agreement between your noun and the verb, or the subject and the verb. Also ensure that correct word choice is used. Okay. Ensure the correct word choice is used. And then recount the number of words. If the instructions are to write between 70 and 80 words, you may not use fewer than 70 words. You may not use more than 80 words. You may use 72 words. Perfect. That would be a lovely essay. You may use 74 words. You may use 76 words. That's okay. If instructed to write about 70 words, for example, attempt to get your word count within the range of 68, 72. That's a good range. That's a very, very good range. If you are instructed to write not more than 72 words, then never exceed the number of words required. So you can write 65 words. You can write 66 words. If they say, do not write more than 70 words, you can definitely write 65 words. That's a summary. Listen, the instruction says, do not write more than 72 words. I remember last year, I taught my grade 10s 50-word short stories. One of the most difficult exercises, but quite fulfilling. What's interesting is that that's kind of what your essay should be. If I say that don't write more than 70 words, is writing 50 words wrong? I don't know. Can you condense that summary into 50 words and bring out all the facts in 50 words? I don't know. Will I penalize you? Nope, because the instruction is clear. Never, so the instruction says do not exceed 70 words, or do not write more than 70 words. Yeah. Okay. And then Rewrite the final neatly. Indicate final at the top of your page or whatever page that you've written that, and delete the draft by drawing a neat line through it. Okay, you just a proper line through it and say, oh no, that's a draft. Here's your final summary. Then recount the words on the final and write the total number of words below the passage in ink. You will lose marks for omission of the step. Okay, you may lose marks for omission of the steps. Okay, sometimes they don't make you lose marks because they understand that, well, yeah, people are nervous and are focusing on the most important part, which is the summary. Okay, let's practice. Okay, I'll give you about 2 minutes to read that. Okay, I'm going to go to the next page because this is not where it ends. Okay, I'm going to go back to the first page of this summary. Remember, I said read it twice. Read it twice. You're welcome to take screenshots, pictures of this. Okay, last one for the second page. Okay, let's see what the summary holds for us. Okay, instructions now. Here are the instructions. Summarize the passage entitled, "What are the dangers of substance abuse?" in no more than 90 words. The draft should consist of numbered facts, which should be combined in a cohesive paragraph. Edit the draft by paying special attention to spelling, language structures, and punctuation. Then rewrite the final in paragraph form. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes just to, I think, bring your thoughts together in that regard. Then I'll give you the sample to, to what the responses should look like. Okay. Right. Okay. Can we go through? Can we go through the summary responses? Remember, you were required to write a summary of no more than what? No more than 90 words. Lovely. Okay. And you needed to then combine it. So combine your numbered facts into a cohesive paragraph. Let's see. Remember something about summary writing and the solutions or the memorandum of summary writing. It doesn't focus on the paragraph, so there's no specific or particular way to write a paragraph, particularly a summary paragraph. Don't forget that. The focus is on whether you were able to pick up some of that stuff. That's what the focus is. The focus is on whether you were able to pick up on the most relevant things, the most important things, and whether you were able to condense the summary, the passage, sorry, into a proper summary. There you go. So we would have accepted any 7 of the following facts, but also look at the word economy here. Look at the word economy here. It says, instead of escaping, one adds to one's trouble by using drugs. Simple, straightforward. When using recreational drugs, one may become addicted. Physical danger is damage to the major organs. One could contract a communicable disease. One could contract life-threatening illnesses. Several natural processes in the body may be affected negatively. Can you see how very direct, very straightforward these sentences are? The reason for that is we want to know if you get the point. I think that's the reason. We want to know if you get the point of the passage you're reading. We want to know if you get the point of the passage you're reading. Now, going back here, look at this. See, there are many dangers associated with substance abuse in the run that, yeah, you see, like then you've got here that the Mayo Clinic defines drug addiction as the compulsive need for, no, man. What is the point? Because look at the title tells, what are the dangers of substance abuse? They want you to tell us what the dangers of substance abuse are. Okay. Now going back here, look at that. Okay, let's just see here. Right, thank you very much, grade 11s. I hope you guys enjoyed that lesson. See you tomorrow morning and have a great day.